Part 36. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the Beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 351. I'm right behind you. But I have a large group of players chasing you. Since you are in front of the gate of hell, open it quickly with the key. Otherwise, when the players behind catch up, it will be a big trouble. Bai-Ze is not far from the gate of hell. This position gathers all the players from the 18 layers of hell. Moreover, players from the 17th layer also poured in one after another. More and more people are running after Xiaoyunyu's coordinates. On the other hand, many players appeared beside Xiaoyunyu and came to intercept her. She relied on Michael's power to barely repel some of them. Unfortunately, Xiaoyunyu only had the peak combat power, and all her angels died. She couldn't kill these players to get more points. Xiaobai, I can still hold on for another 2 minutes. Come here quickly, otherwise the key to hell will really be taken away. Xiaoyunyu talked to Bai-Ze while fighting the enemy with all her strength. But the huge number of creatures made it difficult for her to move. Even though Michael was a half-step monarch, his strength was extraordinary, but his physical strength was limited after all, and he could not withstand the continuous rush of the army. At the same time, there was a commotion not far away. The earth shook continuously, and a cold air from the other side of the surface covered the magma, red rocks, froze the forest, and the mountains quickly attacked. Xiaoyunyu just realized that something was wrong, and a silver frost sword energy had already arrived in front of her. Michael quickly swung his sword back and took the sword without any damage. It's really difficult. Tang Qingcheng was not as good as us before, but I didn't expect her to be promoted so fast in recent years. When we met again, she was almost on par with me. Yes, it's not just Tang Qingcheng. There is also a half-lord in the Sulan provincial team, which really surprised me. Accompanied by a familiar conversation, 6 neat armies came towards Xiaoyunyu. They crossed the horizon and stood here. Mythical creature, Ice Kylan. Magical creature, Thunder Elves. True Chi creatures, Lava Giants. Do-Chi creatures, Earth Knights. Aura creatures, Aurora Shooters. Prehistoric creatures, Wind God Pterosaurs. And the 5 leaders who led the army. Extreme Cold Blade, Purple Thunder Dragon, Fiery Sword Saint, Aurora Centaur, Sky Breaker. The lowest level is the high-level commander, and the highest has reached the peak of half-step commander, which is beyond the reach of countless strong men. Such a scale, unprecedented grand occasion, as vast as a rainbow. Behind the 6 armies, there are countless soldiers following. Those are the creatures in the hands of other players, coming to help the 6 sons of God. It's the 6 sons of God in the imperial capital. Why are they here? Hurry, get out of the way. Not good, they are all here. It seems that we have no chance of getting that achievement title. Seeing this, the players who were jointly encircling Xiaoyunyu made way for the 6 sons of God. The 6 armies walked past the crowd with laughter. Xiaoyunyu looked embarrassed, and felt the duration of the card effect. There is less than a minute left. If I guess correctly, your S-level item card is about to expire, right? Muhan came to the opposite side of Xiaoyunyu and spoke slowly. Xiaoyunyu felt her heartbeat speed up when she heard it. Obviously, Muhan was right. She was currently surrounded by the 6 sons of God, and there were enemies all around. Not to mention that the other side had 4 high-level commanders and 1 half-step peak. Gathered together, they can already fight with their own half-lord. Just say that the time limit for the super evolution is about to expire, and there is no way to fight them head-on. Don't talk, do you agree? If that's the case, then you can forget about opening this boss level today. Surround her. Muhan pointed out and gave an order. In a blink of an eye, Xiaoyunyu turned around, and a blue longsword with open eyes stood upright in front of the gate of hell. At the same time, the wind blew and the clouds fell on all sides, and 4 high-level creatures appeared. The fiery sword saint held a giant sword and was spitting fire all over his body. The sky-splitting seat surrounded his body, and the majestic power was ready to be released in his mouth. There were also the purple thunder dragon and the aurora centaur, which were born with strange phenomena. On one side, there were lightning and thunder, and on the other side, the aurora was all over the sky, which was very beautiful. But Xia Yunyu, who was surrounded in the center, had a headache. Her retreat was blocked, and in this situation, she could not open the gate of hell at all. If she wanted to break the situation, she would lose something. However, Xia Yunyu wanted to leave the key to Bai Zi. So for now, she could only hold on. Boom! In an instant, 5 attacks came out at the same time. Michael's left hand balance shook, and a crisp and pleasant collision sound spread. Due to the interference, the 5 attacks suddenly slowed down a little and were easily resolved by her right-hand giant sword. But the waiting time was only the last 30 seconds. Once the super evolution state is lifted, the seraph form will also disappear. The holy winged angels who command the initial stage will not be the opponent of these people at all. I am afraid that I will be defeated here without 2 moves. Ziobai, I am here at the gate of hell. The 6 sons of the imperial capital are also here. If you don't come, I will really be unable to hold on. Xia Yunyu hurriedly contacted Bai Zi. The other party was decisive and immediately responded, if you can't hold on, open the gate of hell. With the blessing of the S-level prop card, it should not be impossible to break through the siege. After hearing Bai Zi's words, Xia Yunyu wanted to say something. But Bai Zi stopped her all of a sudden. I said, even without the title buff, it's still okay. But if you don't leave now, you'll have no chance at all. At this time, Tang Qingqian's voice rang in Xia Yunyu's ears. Yunyu, I see you. Just listen to Bai Zi and break through to open the door. Otherwise, if those sons of God get the key, the situation will be even more unfavorable to us. After Tang Qingqian's final persuasion, Xia Yunyu compromised. I understand. After that, the voice in her ear gradually disappeared. Xia Yunyu waved her hand, and Michael seemed to sense the momentum of her creator. Suddenly, golden light flashed around her, and a holy cross stood behind her. The cross turned into a light slash, slashing at the extremely cold blade behind her. The latter had no time to dodge, so he could only use the frost sword energy and take the blow head-on. With a loud bang, the frost blade was finally defeated and was thrown several miles away. Without the guard at the rear, a gap suddenly appeared. Michael ignored the other 4 armies and headed straight for the gate of hell. Getting closer and closer. At this moment, Xia Yunyu sensed something. It was like breathing, a very familiar and relaxed feeling. She understood that at this position, she could use the key of hell to open the gate of hell. It's not good, she got through. She wants to open the gate of hell, we can't let her do that. That angel is almost at her limit, all of you go over, and defeat her to win. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. Creation of the world, binding God simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 352. The sons of God began to summon the soldiers behind them. The players who followed them heard it and prepared to attack without saying a word. At this moment, a scarlet key slowly floated out of Xia Yunyu's hand. That's the key to hell. I saw the key to hell. Double points bonus, she is going to use the key to hell, we can't let her succeed. Hurry up, grab it for me. All the players present were anxious and rushed towards Xia Yunyu like crazy. but suddenly, a golden sword energy slashed down in the air, splitting a large canyon and blocking the creature's progress. The 5 leaders crossed the canyon and launched different offensive attacks. Green light balls, purple lightning, golden light arrows, and ice and fire sword energy flew out one after another. Michael fought with him, and the 2 sides were evenly matched and fell into a melee. Ding, Mega Super Evolution, the remaining time of the effect is 10 seconds. Listening to the anxious voice in her ears, Xia Yunyu ignored it. He just controlled the key and sent it to the gate of hell. There was no way, the 5 leaders could not break through Michael's defense. Seeing that the key was getting closer and closer to the gate and was about to collide, the last remaining Zhu Wei moved. Impossible, I will never let you get the achievement buff. Come out and see the world, super gravity monster. As the voice fell, a hissing sound came from deep underground. That was the sound of the soil being quickly dug up, gradually approaching. Suddenly, the ground block was knocked open, and a huge figure was ejected from the ground. It had a sharp mouth and steel teeth, and its sharp claws on both sides were made of steel. At this time, it was aiming at the key, trying to interrupt Xia Yunyu's spell. Unfortunately, another figure blocked its attack with its body. A closer look showed that it was Michael who did it. After being hit, she fell vertically. At the same time, the duration of the S-level prop card also expired. Michael released his super evolution and returned to the Seraphim form. As he fell, he finally released his original form, the Holy Winged Angel, and fell straight to the ground. However, Xia Yunyu's trump card was shot down. But the key that was sent out had already touched the gate of hell and merged into it. Boom! The next second, the gate of hell trembled violently, and the gate slowly opened and extended to both sides. At this moment, all the players on the scene stopped. They understood that there was no chance, and the gate of hell finally opened. Ding! Congratulations to the contestant of the Sulan competition area, Xia Yunyu, who mastered the key of hell and opened the gate of hell. Ding! Obtained the achievement title, the Messenger of Hell. Ding! Congratulations to this player, the points he earned in the future will be doubled. Familiar scene, familiar appearance. After a gap appeared in the gate of hell, a red breath gushed out. Countless dead souls wailed and rushed out from the gate. It's open, the gate of hell in the Eastern Division has also opened. It's Xia Yunyu from Sulan province. I didn't expect that she could really keep the key until the end. On the field now, only Daidu and Sulan have won this title. It seems that there will be a battle between the 2 sides. The audience was aroused and couldn't wait to see how things would develop. The principal of Daidu complained with an ouch, and his tone was obviously a little unhappy. Hee, what's wrong? You feel uncomfortable when you see others saving points. Principal Zio said sarcastically on the side. Humph, you should take care of your own savings. Look at you Zio, you are all down. The 2 of them had a bad tone and pinched each other's pain points. Among them, the 2 principals of Sulan province were the most proud. The effect of the double buff bonus did not fall into the hands of others. This is the best ending. But the good times did not last long. Although Xia Yunyu opened the gate of hell, she also got double points bonus. But her army had already been defeated, and even the Holy Wing Angel was seriously injured and dying. Any one of the opponents could almost end Xia Yunyu here. Running into the gate of hell, it is not clear what is inside, and the ending is probably the same. Wait, what is that? Suddenly, someone spoke at this time. Just as the gate of hell was half opened, a holy light shadow appeared out of thin air and then entered the gate of hell. After that, a batch of things like ghosts drilled out of the ground, surrounded by golden armor. But their legs and feet were not seen, just floating in the air. They completely ignored others and rushed straight into the gate of hell. The sharp-eyed contestants immediately found that this was Zhao Qi from Tianjing Academy. It's Zhao Qi, why did he suddenly appear here? No, Zhao Qi has entered the gate of hell before us. He won't be lying in ambush here for a long time, just waiting to enter the gate of hell first. Zhao Qi couldn't help but smile when he heard everyone's speculation. He had indeed been lying in ambush here for a long time, originally intending to snatch Xia Yunyu's hell key. However, it was too chaotic just now, and the several great sons of the imperial capital and all the players were present. He had no chance to participate at all. If he attacked rashly, he might be besieged. This was absolutely a reckless act for Zhao Qi, who was carrying the burden of the entire province. So there was no choice, he had been sinking until now. He had to wait for the gate of hell to open, and then be the first person to enter the boss level. Xia Yunyu, what if you got the buff of double points? Look at your creatures, we will send you to the end soon. Zhu Wei, who was closest to Xia Yunyu, spoke after coming back to his senses. His general, the super-gravity monster, jumped up. It jumped into the air, hundreds of meters high, which was incredible. This is Zhu Wei's trump card, the super-gravity monster, as its name suggests, can change its own gravity to fight. Standing on the Hell planet, it is like the moon, very light. One jump, you can rush to the top. Smash her to death, super-gravity monster, Zhu Wei ordered again. After the super-gravity monster came to the commanding height, it stretched out its claws and began to dive down. It changed its own gravity again, making it feel like 1,000 pounds were pressing on its body, and the falling speed was extremely fast. The Holy Wing Angel collapsed to the ground, already seriously injured. If this attack hit, it would basically be dead. Holy Wing Angel, fly up. Fly high for me. The Holy Wing Angel seemed to hear Xia Yunyu's call. The distance was getting closer and closer, and they were about to collide. The 8 wings behind the Holy Wing Angel began to flap rhythmically. With a whoosh, the Holy Wing Angel rushed out. The super-gravity monster could not brake in time due to its own gravity, and crashed heavily to the ground with a bang. Seeing that the Holy Wing Angel was fine, Xia Yunyu didn't think much about it. She integrated all the remaining angels and ordered them to go to the gate of hell regardless of everything. In an instant, Xia Yunyu's entire army retreated. A line of figures disappeared in front of the gate of hell. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 353. Xia Yunyu has also gone in. 2 people have already gone in first, let's go. After Xia Yunyu left, several figures suddenly jumped out from the side. The 6 sons of God were unable to stop them, so those figures led a group of creatures and rushed into the gate of hell. When they realized something was wrong, they shouted loudly. The Thunder Elf army is integrated, we are ready to enter the gate of hell and chase Xia Yunyu. Ice Kylan army, listen up. Lava Giant. 6 teams followed Xia Yunyu shortly after she left. Although the key to hell is gone, Xia Yunyu has a buff of double points bonus. She belongs to Sulan province, so the sons of God will not leave it alone. Before leaving, several sons of God did not forget to leave their own members behind. Seal the entrance to the gate of hell, and attack anyone who dares to come in. Understood. After that, the figures of the 6 sons of God all disappeared inside the door. The remaining members in their hands, about a dozen, led many creatures to block the gate of hell. As soon as other contestants were about to enter, they were beaten back. The Son of God has ordered that this place is full, you can't go through. The leader spoke with a little arrogance. After all, this is still a competition. Blocking the entrance to the boss level and not letting other contestants enter is undoubtedly trying to monopolize the points. There is no way, the 6 sons of God have this confidence. The 6 of them alone can defeat the world-class boss of the Hell Planet. What a joke, not letting us go through. Can the Son of God be so arrogant, want to monopolize the boss level points? Seeing this, the leader looked down on him. We just stand here, no one can get through. Humph. That's not the final say, let's go. Asshole, don't block the way, I want to get through first. The prop card is activated. All of a sudden, smoke rose in front of the gate of hell. In order to enter the gate of hell first, the players fought fiercely. They are all competitors, and only the winner can stand out. So there is nothing to worry about, just go in. Time passed quickly, the sun and the moon had changed outside, and it was about to enter the early morning, which was the 6th day of the competition. People all over the country were watching this game that would determine the fate of the next 12 years. No one wanted to sleep, and even the players did not go offline to rest. Because the gate of hell had been opened, it was almost the decisive moment. During this period of time, whoever went offline might miss a great opportunity. Bai Ziyi and Tang Qingchen were relieved when they heard the full-screen announcement about Xia Yunyu. Fortunately, the double buff did not fall into the hands of the son of the emperor. Xia Yunyu should have successfully entered the gate of hell by now. Tang Qingchen arrived at the boss level one step ahead of Bai Ziyi, and he was able to break through the siege and enter the gate of hell. Bai Ziyi followed closely behind and saw the shadow of a huge door. He understood that there was the way to enter the boss level. At the same time, the group of people who stepped into the gate of hell first found that the gate of hell was extremely complicated. There were different rooms connected by long passages. The 6 sons of God were chasing Xia Yunyu all the way, but unfortunately, they lost her. Instead, they came to a spacious battle platform, surrounded by seats on all sides, just like the ancient Roman Colosseum. It seems that this should be similar to the level of small monsters before fighting the boss in the game. Look at the sky. Muhan held his glasses, his eyes were deep. Following his line of sight, dozens of evil ghosts were floating in the sky. Holding a trident, his body was red, and his face was green with fangs. Surrounded by them was a very old evil ghost holding a scepter. Invader, roar. It raised the staff, and the ground shook suddenly. Several sealed cages in front of them opened, and pairs of blood-red eyes were exposed in the darkness. The 6 people were currently standing in the center of the arena. So it was obvious that these guys in front of them should be the opponents of this round. Haha, what's that? There's a viewing platform up there, why don't you go up and sit for a while? For this first level, let my super gravity monster test the bottom first. Zhu Wei said in a deep voice. The other 5 people looked at each other and nodded in unison. Anyway, destroying these monsters won't add many points. With their points, combined with their own members, they can enter the 3rd stage of the competition. So it doesn't matter who gets more points at this time, anyway, it's all for the imperial capital. Okay. After that, the 5 major races started one after another and stepped onto the viewing platform. Including Zhu Wei's Earth Knight, only the super gravity monster was left standing alone. At this time, monsters walked out of the opened cages one by one. There is a giant demon with a red body and a mace in hand. There is a 3-headed hellhound with 3 heads and fierce eyes. There is also a hellfire man with flames all over his body that can fly forward. All of them are at the initial stage of command, which is quite interesting. Then come on, let me see your strength. The perspective changes and enters the area where Xia Yunyu is. The floating islands in the sky are made of red rocks. The sky is red, and there is no cloud in sight, as if you are in an endless void. Xia Yunyu didn't understand where she had walked into. She was busy running away and rushed into a place. When she came to her senses, it had become like this. Wait, that is. Xia Yunyu noticed something, and the angels floating in the air also tightened their eyes. In front of them, Many monsters without feet flew out from behind the floating islands. Their teeth were uneven, and their sharp claws were at least 1 meter long. The pair of wings on their backs were even more spectacular. This should be the only way to the boss level. As long as I defeat you, I can get out. Xiaoyunyu clenched her fists, her eyes sparkling. The realm of the other party is obviously stronger than those monsters outside. Even so, there are many of them, but with the power of the Holy Wing Angel, they should be able to fight. The enemy's realm is higher than ours, don't spread out and get caught. Follow the Holy Wing Angel and form a team to meet the enemy. After Xiaoyunyu gave the order, the remaining angels quickly reorganized into a team to prepare for the enemy. Not only Xiaoyunyu and the 6 sons of God, but all the others who entered the gate of hell went into different rooms. There are many levels here, different levels, and different creatures for the contestants to compete. The Western Division, which can open the gate of hell first, is advancing faster at this time. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 354. Bai Xingguan was unstoppable and broke through many rooms. However, if we really compare them, the overall combat power of the Western Division is actually weaker than that of the Eastern Division. After entering the gate of hell, except for Bai Xingguan who was speeding up, the other players were a little slower. At the same time, Bai Zi finally arrived near the gate of hell. He looked from a distance and saw that the players were fighting in a mess, unable to distinguish between the enemy and the friend. Among them, there were also several familiar faces. For example, Qin Xinlian, who had been chasing him before, was also there. The blooming red lotuses were her masterpiece. Bai Zi could feel that his chance had come. Looking at the points ranking, Bai Zi had been squeezed out of the 2nd place in the Eastern Division. The one who squeezed him to the 3rd place was none other than Xiaoyunyu, who received a double points bonus. Her current points were as high as 1.5 million, and she was in fierce competition with Zhao Qi, who was in the 1st place, chasing each other. But the scary thing was not in the Eastern Division, but in the Western Division. Think about it carefully. Xiaoyunyu, who just got the double points bonus, has been able to catch up from the top 10 to the 2nd place. Then, Bai Xingguan, who was originally the 1st in the West, has already reached an unimaginable position. This is not a solution. Look at our imperial capital, the total points exceed 15 million. Bai Xingguan's personal points lead the country, accounting for more than half of the imperial capital, 8 million points. No matter how hard you chase, you can't catch up. The principal of the imperial capital sat in the same place, feeling at ease. Fortunately, the one who holds the double points buff in the Eastern Division is not Bai Zi, but only a member of his team. Moreover, that member has been seriously injured and can't make any waves. Otherwise, the imperial capital will really face challenges. For so many years, no one has been able to shake the position of the imperial capital in the Federation. In this competition, no one will succeed. But before anyone can refute or say anything, the Eastern Division suddenly changes. The location near the Gate of Hell suddenly dimmed. The players were having a great time fighting, but they didn't notice anything unusual. When they felt something approaching, it was too late. Oh no, look up in the sky, something is falling. Is it a laser, or a ray? What is that? The colorful rays were constantly shooting at the ground. The rays were penetrating, and it was impossible to defend in a conventional way. Just a touch would cause a big hole to be opened in the chest of the creatures and they would fall to the ground. A-level prop card, Gamma Ray Group activated. The card between Bai Zi's 2 fingers slowly disappeared. As the rays kept falling to the ground, they drifted in the air. It's gamma rays, get out of the way. These gamma rays are too dense, and I've never seen such small gamma rays. Someone must have used the prop card. Where? The players noticed something was wrong and tried their best to flee. But at this time, the Zerg that covered the sky and the sun came to the sky. When the gamma ray group was about to end, they all launched an attack. The reckless rampage caused serious damage to the nearby terrain. The contestants were caught off guard and did not realize who was attacking them. It was not until a huge figure stood in the air that they suddenly realized what was going on. Ding ding dings hitten. The yellow crystals on Hypertseton's chest and eyes flashed. So, the black fireball condensed in its hand was thrown out. When it fell, it set off a strong wind, and the raging magma nearby exploded, which was quite a magnificent scene of the earth exploding. The creatures on the ground watched the fireball getting closer and closer. The range was too large and there was nowhere to escape. There was a loud boom and the fireball spread. The flames surged like a heat wave, burning everything nearby. Even the gate of hell was not spared. The black flames climbed on the door, gradually forming a protective wall, making it impossible for the creatures to enter. Ding, players from the Imperial Capital Division, all creatures are wiped out, and they are permanently offline. Ding, players from the Anyun Division, all creatures are wiped out. Ding, players from the Tianjin Division. Cold mechanical sounds echoed in Bai Zi's ears. Points flowed into Bai Zi's account like water. After the first round of attacks, the players finally realized that the person who attacked them just now was Bai Zi. We were tricked. It was Bai Zi who attacked us just now. How many prop cards does that guy have on him? Damn it, I used all my prop cards in the previous battle, otherwise I would have made him look bad. The surviving creatures stood up, most of them were already half crippled. They were fighting together just now, and their positions were too dense. Bai Zi used an A-level prop card to hit the target, and the damage was directly maxed out. At this time, on the big screen outside, Bai Zi's points rolled in a series. Finally, it was fixed at 2 million points. With a surprise attack, he directly won 600,000 points, and I don't know how many creatures he slaughtered. Great, there's a chance if we keep going this way. Sitting next to the big screen, Teacher Joe said silently. You really have a good student. 2 million points, first in the East, third in the country. If I can get another 1 million, I can almost surpass Zhang Tianyuan. Sitting next to Zhou Qing was Sumu, the tutor of Sulin Academy. Sometimes, I quite admire you. I thought that by recruiting Qing Cheng, I would have a chance to beat you once. Unfortunately, I was overthinking it. Teacher Su shook his head quietly, feeling quite emotional. What are you talking about now? We are now standing on a united front. Whether it's Beis or Tang Qing Cheng, they all belong to Sulin province. Teacher Joe didn't care at all and kept talking to himself. Well, I also hope that our players can really do it. The two of them agreed with each other and had their hearts set on the same goal, having forgotten all the previous disputes. At the same time, the sharp increase in base points has also brought Surin province to a higher level. Surin province has nearly 8 million points and is increasingly approaching the second place in the country, Yanyuan province, which has 9 million points. Among them, Bai Zi and Xia Yunyu contributed nearly half. Back to Bai Zi, those defeated soldiers are all potential points. He seized the opportunity, and the 4 major ethnic groups also appeared one after another. The rock descended from the sky, flapped its wings and fired arrows. The Holy Spirit King Dragon exhaled from its flanks and sprayed out an emerald green beam of light. The surrounding Tree People army, combined with the Sword and Shield clan, pushed forward and quickly penetrated inside. The opponent was temporarily in disarray and unable to resist. Only Qin Xinlian's eyes lit up when she saw Bai Zi arriving. You go in first and go to the gate of hell. There will be another war here soon, and it's not safe to stay here. Just let me go meet that guy. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 355. Hearing this, the two members turned around and left without hesitation. Nearby Ze, a flash of fire appeared, and there was a continuous sound of phoenixes. The wings of the fire phoenix spread out, and the 8 colored lines on its tail swung, and its entire body formed a ring, like the sun illuminating the world. Qin Xinlian did not speak this time, but attacked Bai Zi directly. In a blink of an eye, the scorching rain of fire had already fallen from the sky. Bai Zi sensed that something was wrong and immediately asked the meteor bugs to lower their altitude. The carapace on the back was spread out to form a huge shield, covering all friendly forces. With united defense, this sudden wave of fire rain did not cause much damage to Bai Zi. On the contrary, those players were just bombed by a group of gamma rays. Just when they stood firm, a new round of air strikes appeared again. The creatures tried their best to escape, but were hit by the rain of fire, some died, some were injured, and the surface was full of traces of bombing and burning. The scene was like a natural disaster, causing them to be killed and injured. Qin Xinlian. Bai Zi raised his head. When he saw the sun, he already had the answer in his heart. Go around and enter the gate of hell directly. Bai Zi took the opportunity of the chaos on the scene and gave orders to his creatures directly. After 2 rounds of air strikes, thick earth fog covered the earth. Qin Xinlian was at a high point, looking at the devastated earth, just looking for Bai Zi's figure. Where are the people? She frowned and looked around, but didn't see any creature under Bai Zi. Could it be that he was killed by himself like this? It's impossible to think about it, otherwise there will definitely be a prompt sound. No, Qin Xinlian's eyes turned quickly. Behind her, a group of creatures emerged from the earth fog. Tree people, meteor insects, and Dapen, etc. The 5 tribes took advantage of the fog to avoid Qin Xinlian's detection and rushed into the gate of hell. See you later. Bai Zi said the last word, and all creatures successfully entered the boss level. But Qin Xinlian felt that he was fooled, and immediately ordered the army to chase. Don't think about leaving. Catch up with them, don't let them run away. After receiving the order, the fire phoenix let out a long cry, and its agile body dived down like a rocket. Many firebirds also flew out of the fireball in the air, their bodies were bright red and flames were rolling. They plunged into the gate of hell and followed Bai Zi. After the 2 left, the stunned contestants also came back to their senses at this time. They looked around and looked at the messy battlefield, with lingering fear. But after that, most people died, but there were fewer competitors. Survived. Don't hesitate, while no one is blocking you, hurry into the gate of hell. Boss level, here I come, let me make up for the missing points. This is a competition, a life and death massacre. So, despite the huge disaster, the contestants acted calmly. They were not discouraged or sad, but seized the time and rushed to the boss level quickly. At the same time, the Sons of God also received news from their members. A lot of them died, attacked by Bai Zi. And Bai Zi has already entered the gate of hell, and will soon come to the boss level. He, Bai Zi, we will wait for you at the last boss level. But before that. Boom. Accompanied by a loud noise, a big door in front opened. At this moment, the 6 sons of God broke through the hell arena. Looking around, the demons who led the initial stage were dead all over the ground. The monster flying in the sky just now was also shot down and became a rotten corpse. After defeating all of them, the exit gate appeared out of thin air. The sons of God gathered together and stepped into the gate with full confidence. Ding! Congratulations to the Imperial contestants, Mu Han, Yan Yan, Hong Yan, Zhu Wei, Liao Yang, and Ye Hui for breaking through the illusion level first. The loud sound of the world echoed in the ears of each contestant. As a dazzling light dissipated, the scenery on the other side of the gate also appeared in front of the 6 people. Unlike just now, This place is more like indoors. There are black and red marble columns on all sides, and a red carpet leads directly to the front gate from where they came out. That's right, the gate. This room is completely closed. In addition to the gate they walked into, there is only one door leading to the front. Is this the boss level? Liao Liang looked around and said. His creatures walked out of the gate and filled an area. But this place is obviously not a boss level. Because the place they have been in is very much like a palace. And according to the structure of the palace, this is just a spacious corridor. The real palace seat should be behind the gate in front. I guess the real boss level should be behind that gate. This is just a long corridor, not a boss level, Muhan said, holding his glasses. What are you waiting for? We are the only ones here now. Let's go quickly and go directly to the boss level. With that, Liao Liang led the team and prepared to move forward. But after just a few steps, they suddenly heard a noise not far away. From the shadows behind the marble columns, huge monsters came out. Their steps were heavy, and the tap-tap-tap sound was very disturbing. After a closer look, it turned out to be a four-legged beetle wearing a knight's helmet and holding various weapons such as iron axes and spears. There are a total of 8 beetles, and each realm is above the high-level commander. It seems that this is the gatekeeper of this level. 8 high-level commanders, or even higher, it is worthy of being close to the last level. In theory, this should be a place that can only be broken through by the cooperation of many people. The 6 people began to be alert, and their creatures also took a fighting stance. But it doesn't matter. We can break here just by relying on a few of us. As soon as the voice fell, the 8 beetles on the opposite side rushed over with weapons in hand. In an instant, the 2 armies collided with each other. The Western Division on the other side has also arrived here, leading to the corridor before the final level. But unlike the Eastern Division, in addition to Bai Xingguan, there are other players who walked in here. However, no one can compete with the goddess. The mother of the black goat in the forest is like a hungry beast. It rushed over with its huge tongue swinging, fighting with the night beetles. In just a moment, half of the 8 gatekeeper beetles were devoured. The weapons in their hands could not pierce the opponent's skin. Even if they hurt her, she could recover immediately. As for the remaining night beetles, they were entangled by dozens of contestants and finally died of exhaustion. Everything was handled properly, and the door leading to the final level was placed in front of a group of people. Before they could get close, the door opened automatically, and the dazzling light engulfed everything. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 356. Finally, the final level is coming. Gu Li, who was sitting in the central stadium, smiled. The other principals also showed their expectations. At this moment, many creatures completely entered the final level. The scene that came into view was so magnificent that the contestants were extremely shocked. The spacious and huge room was at least several hundred meters high. The suspended crystal ceiling and the marble columns on both sides of the red carpet led directly to the golden throne in front. The shining rays of light shone on the throne all around. It was a throne made of pure gold. And there was a person sitting on it, with one hand supporting his chin and the other hand on the handle of the chair. Is this the final boss of the boss level of Hell Planet? Looking at the lineup, it should be, but why is it like this? If it wasn't called a boss, I would have thought it was a monster. It doesn't have the deterrent feeling of a boss at all. Through the live broadcast, the contestants who saw the boss sighed. This is very different from the impression of the boss in their minds. Wearing a black armor, with 2 horns on the head and a black long sword hanging on the waist. Only a pair of red eyes can be seen to observe its current state. It looks like that. But it is different from the feeling given by the boss. Shouldn't the boss be a grinning, huge monster? Are you here, invader? At this time, the figure spoke in surprise. After speaking, it stood up from the throne and walked down. That's it? Is this the final boss of the boss level? Is it too bad? Seeing this scene, the principals next to the Imperial Capital Center Stadium couldn't stand it anymore. After all, they have been waiting for the boss for so long, but they have waited for this thing. Not only is it not majestic and domineering, but even its own realm is very low. Only the peak of the leader is not in line with the personality of the boss level and the world-class boss. Don't worry, this is just the beginning. Ghoulie waved his hand. It seems that this should not be the full appearance of the boss. If nothing unexpected happens, Mr. Ghoulie should have set other forms, am I right? The principal of the Imperial Capital next to him turned his head and spoke seriously. Well said. Ghoulie smiled but didn't smile, just staring at the live broadcast screen. The next second, the 2 sides were already facing each other. The black armor stood in place, and a gust of wind blew from nowhere. He drew out the giant sword at his waist and rushed over with a brisk step. The players were not easy to deal with either, and ordered the creatures to start fighting. In their view, this was not a monster, but points, full of points. Back in the Eastern Division, after a fierce collision, several Night Beetles were seriously injured. The Sons of God only used the power of their heads to defeat them. Just as they were about to finish off the enemy, a figure emerged from the door that opened on the other side. What the hell? With a loud bang, a sword with holy light pierced through the body of the Night Beetle. The Sons of God noticed and found that the person who came was Zhao Qi, the first to step into the gate of hell. Tianjing's trump card, Zhao Qi. Hey, you dare to steal our prey, Hong Yan said indignantly. The Holy Light Knights under Zhao Qi walked out of the gate together. The one who swung the last sword just now was his general, whose name was General Shengui. The sacred attribute, commanding high level, restraining all creatures in the hell world. He, this is the hell planet, and we are also in competition. It's reasonable for me to steal your creatures. Zhao Qi pretended to be indifferent and explained to the 6 Sons of God. Unfortunately, this obviously did not convince them. Okay, since you said so, I will fulfill your competition. Don't let them go. Hong Yan just gave the order, but Zhao Qi had already surpassed them and passed several Night Beetles. In fact, as the first person to enter the gate of hell, he had already broken through the level for a long time. Just stay there and watch the 6 Sons of God fight with the guards here, and then suddenly come out to take advantage of the situation. At this time, he has no time to waste with these Sons of God. His goal has always been the final boss in the boss level. Boom. The door leading to the final level was pushed open by General Shengui. A dazzling light shot out, and a group of creatures ignored the back and walked in directly. In front of him, as in the Western Division, a familiar scene came into view. A strange song rang in my ears. A golden beam of light fell on the throne, and the giant humanoid creature in black armor stood up. It was full of awe-inspiring power, 50 meters tall, taller than most creatures. Finally here. The peak of the commander level, the highest realm of the hell planet. I'm afraid you should be the final boss, right? Zhao Qi led the creatures forward and stood alone opposite the black armor. For a moment, the two collided, and a current emerged in the middle. Wait. Behind Zhao Qi, several Sons of God immediately spoke. But just as they were about to chase, they were suddenly stopped by several figures that appeared in front of them. There were still a few night beetles that had not fallen, and they took the opportunity to block the 6 sons of God. At the same time, after Zhao Qi arrived, more and more contestants began to appear from the walls on all sides. The doors opened one by one, and they all arrived at the corridor in front of the boss level. Are the 6 sons of God in the imperial capital here? What are these beetles? The contestants asked questions. The sons of God knew that because of Bai Zi, the defense in front of the gate of hell was broken. Soon, more contestants will enter. By then, the competition will become more intense. Hee, a group of ants dare to stop us. No need to hold back, speed up and defeat them. The sons of God waved their hands, and they didn't hold back anymore, and the whole army attacked. In an instant, several ace creatures sprinted out and immediately knocked over several beetles. Seeing this, the contestants behind him seemed to realize something, took a defensive posture, and prepared to meet the enemy. At the edge of the 18th level of hell, a large number of players who entered from the 17th level were rushing to the hell gate. In front of the boss level, the number of players gathered increased sharply. There were about 2,000 people left in the entire Eastern Division, and half of them had already reached the 18th level of hell. The number of people surrounding the hell gate accounted for 90% of them. However, at this time, Bai Zi ran all the way in the hell gate, and Qin Xinlian chased him all the way behind him. Walking in the dark and red corridor, suddenly, a ball of light enveloped him. Both of them were teleported away and entered different trial rooms. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 357. Before Bai Zi, the contestants broke through the trial room and entered the corridor. This place has been cleared by the sons of God and the contestants who arrived earlier. All the night beetles were killed, and there was no more points to be gained. So, they rushed into the final level. In front of the gate, Zhao Qi had fought with the boss for several rounds. Both sides were tired, and Zhao Qi was obviously more tired. But as long as you attack the boss, you will get points. The more damage you deal, the more points you will get. With the strength of a high-level commander, although he could not defeat the boss, he also gained a lot of points. I didn't expect it to come so fast. Turning his head and looking behind him, Zhao Qi said helplessly. The creature at the peak of the commander, is that the final boss? It doesn't look very strong, I feel like we can deal with it. It seems to have been exhausted by Zhao Qi, why don't we prepare to attack? The contestants who came here saw the boss's appearance, and their originally uneasy hearts became calm. They thought that the boss would be so terrifying that they might be killed instantly. But the guy in front of them obviously didn't have this. Humph, you want to snatch the prey from us, wishful thinking. Yan Yan spoke first, and before Zhao Qi in front of him could react, a flash of lightning rushed up. General Shengui looked back, and the purple thunder dragon with lightning all over his body hit the black armor. In a flash, the opponent was directly knocked out and fell heavily on the throne. The other contestants were not to be outdone, and a large number of creatures attacked in the form of black raindrops. Black armor got up with difficulty and swung his sword hard to fight. But facing the numerous creatures like a tide, he was also powerless. No way, this is too different from the final boss I imagined. Just now, Zhao Qi alone consumed it to half crippled, and I didn't even have the desire to take action. The 6 sons of God gathered together and talked with contempt. Almost done, just an ordinary peak commander monster. If that's the case, we can give it the final blow. After saying that, several people glanced at Yan Yan beside them at the same time. The latter knew it well and was not going to drag it on any longer. Purple Thunder Dragon, use range lightning. The purple thunder dragon roared, and the roof of the palace suddenly thundered and flickered. The rolling purple thunder descended and blasted the top. The creatures crawling around the black armor were shocked when they felt the lightning approaching. They retreated desperately, and they didn't care about finishing off the enemy. Boom! With a loud bang, just as the lightning was about to approach, it suddenly broke apart. Another golden jet passed through the broken lightning and went straight into the chest of the black armor. What? Shackles, Yan Yan turned back quickly. That's right, it was a silver-white chain that collided with the lightning and shattered it just now. But it was transparent, and only Yan Yan saw it. Not good. But when Yan Yan reacted, he found that the black armor had been killed. There was a big hole in his chest, motionless, lifeless. So, someone stole his last knife? Who is it? Yan Yan looked around, and the door behind him opened. A group of dragons flew from them and fluttered on the roof of the palace. The leading dragon of order released chains to block the scene. The golden figure flashed, and Yinglong landed directly, stepping on the body of the black armor with both feet, as if swearing sovereignty. Ding! Congratulations to Tang Ching Cheng, a contestant in the Sulan competition area, for delivering the last blow to the final boss Demon King and killing the boss. Ding! Congratulations to the contestants in the Sulan competition area. Continuous mechanical sounds echoed throughout the competition area. After Tang Ching Cheng successfully made up the knife, his own points instantly soared by 500,000. Jumped into the top 5 of the Eastern Division, 1.3 million points. This change made Sulan Province's points closer to Yanyuan. It was only a few 100,000 points away from overtaking Tang Ching Cheng from Sulan Province. You are really pestering me. I just dumped you and you caught up with me again. Although Yan Yan squinted his eyes, the veins on his forehead were jumping. Obviously, he was robbed of his prey twice and was already in a rage. Seeing this, the other sons of God also gathered around. Tang Ching Cheng, I didn't attack you before because we had a friendship before. Besides, we have more important things to do. But it's different now. We have finished our business, and this is still an almost closed environment. So since you are here, be prepared to be left forever. At this point, creatures of all races have surrounded Tang Ching Cheng. The two sides faced each other, and a strong murderous aura spread out. But suddenly, the body of the Demon King under Yinglong's feet moved. Sensing the threat, Yinglong flapped his giant wings behind him and flew into the air, showing a vigilant posture. Other players also noticed this scene, with horrified eyes. Look, the body of the Demon King is moving. Wasn't the boss killed? Why is it moving again? Under the gaze of many players, the black armor twitched continuously. Inside the armor, it seemed that something was squeezing out, trying to rush out of the armor. Wait, get out of the way, Muhan gave an order. The sons of God followed Muhan and retreated without saying a word. But those who didn't hear clearly were not so lucky. The black armor was blown up directly, and the crowded purple-black body expanded and reached the top of the palace. The huge shockwave during the explosion overturned a large number of creatures, and the creatures in the central area were directly blown to death. Looking closely, thick purple mist began to spread. Surrounded in the middle was a behemoth several hundred meters tall, occupying almost one-third of the palace. It was purple-black all over, with a pair of sharp horns, floating in the air like a ghost. Its claws were crescent-shaped, its face was green and fangs, its muscles were bulging, and its purple meridians were clearly visible. Staring at this monster, the creators felt a breath. Very strong. Unprecedented strength, no one on the scene was an opponent. At least, it has reached the monarch level in the true sense. It's definitely the boss, and it even has a second form. That's nonsense, how could the boss be so weak? It must have a second form. It seems that this thing is the real strong enemy. Not only is it so huge, but its realm has also reached the level of a true monarch. The contestants on the scene discussed with each other, their expressions tense. Monarch-level creatures are already terrifying. In addition, its size exceeds that of ordinary creatures, just like the Terminator number 1 that we met on the mechanical planet last time. It looks like a monarch, comparable to a mid-level monarch. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target. Type, mix. Creation of the world, binding God simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 358. Roar. The monster roared, and the purple mist floating around it condensed into ghost fire and shot down. Encountering bombardment from all sides, the entire palace shook violently, and dust fell from the sky. Facing a behemoth hundreds of meters high, the contestants seemed so small. After only a few rounds of confrontation, several contestants were extinct and forced to leave the field. Fortunately, as time goes by, fresh blood is continuously infused. Now on the field, the total number of players in the East and West divisions is less than 5,000, and the number of players in the East division is about 2,000. Among these 2,000 people, nearly 90% have reached the 18th level of Hell. The number of people who have entered the boss level has exceeded 100, and the hidden combat power of the remaining hundreds of people is also in the trial level. Once you break through there, you will enter the boss room and join the conquest of the world-class boss. Ignore Tang Ching Cheng for now, hurry up and move the boss. This guy has more points than Tang Ching Cheng. The 6 sons of God organized themselves, divided the work and cooperated, and began to counter-attack the boss. Lava giants, earth knights, and other heavy creatures charged from the front and launched melee attacks. The wind god pterosaur can fly and is responsible for flanking interference, while the other 3 tribes led by the ice unicorn are in long-range output. Bursts of freezing rays, thunderballs, and light arrows were shot continuously. The leader-level figures were not to be outdone, and quickly dodged the boss's attack and attacked it from multiple directions. At this time, the boss, who encountered continuous bombardment and finally closed, let out a long roar, and groups of ghost fires around him suddenly fell. Accompanied by a violent noise, the creatures that did not dodge ended regretfully. But this is not over yet. After the ghost fire collapsed, evil ghosts drilled out of it. The body is like a spirit, with 2 horns on the head, a green face and fangs, and looks similar to the final boss, the Destruction Tyrant. And they are agile, and in a blink of an eye they have entangled a large number of followers on the ground. At this time, Tang Ching Cheng didn't care about the 6 sons of God. Facing a monarch creature of this size, the flames will be affected if you are not careful. She has so many points, all of which symbolize Sulin, and she can't fall here. Don't be afraid. We are many and powerful, and it will not be able to hold on sooner or later. Listen to my Lord's order, charge. Listen to my Lord's order, charge. In order to fight against the boss comparable to the middle level of the monarch, many players temporarily united. But in fact, everyone has a ghost in mind, thinking about how to make up the last knife and get more points. On the other side, Bai Zi is still ranked first in the East. He fought in the trial pass, making great progress, and almost no loss, and he was about to destroy it. Qin Xinlian followed closely behind, and the points of the 2 of them rose rapidly, and the provincial points also changed. Back to the main battlefield near the boss level, at least 200 players have gathered. More than 100,000 troops besieged the Demon King in the form of the Tyrant of Destruction. The soldiers it summoned were killed after surviving for a few seconds. Under the intensive firepower siege, even the huge monarch-level creatures gradually began to retreat. Look, the boss's movements have become slower, he can't hold on. Good opportunity, increase the firepower output in the back, hold on in the front, don't let it attack the back row. Points, all points, my points have increased by hundreds after attacking once. All the players in the boss level have their points rising wildly, with no upper limit at all. Bai Zi has 2.2 million points, Zhao Qi, the second place, and the 6 sons of God below are all pressing step by step, and the gap with him is getting smaller and smaller. It's about time, Aurora Centaur, give it the final blow. Right now, Frostblade, cut it off. Accompanied by several shouts, several great sons of God chose this time to attack. Then, a beam of light arrows shot out, circled around the zenith, and finally hit the boss's head in a tricky position. Its purple-black pupils were pierced, and it let out a series of painful wails. Secondly, the slash with cold air was close to destroying the tyrant's abdomen. The contestants all wanted to compete for the opportunity to finish off the opponent, but Mu-Han's movements were too fast and they couldn't stop him at all. The final blow is mine. Mu-Han waved his hand, and the slash was so fast that after images appeared between the flashes of swords and shadows. Suddenly, with a loud boom, the entire main seat of the palace was shaken. In the air, thick frost spread, freezing the marble columns, the zenith, and the ground. Just when the players thought that the boss was hit and Mu-Han succeeded in finishing off the opponent, a dazzling golden light appeared. Who the hell is this? Mu-Han was furious. Only he knew that the attack just now exploded in mid-air. He didn't even touch the boss, let alone finish off the opponent. No, Mu Shenzi's last attack was blocked, and he didn't attack the boss. Yan Shenzi's last attack just now was also blocked by someone, and it was Tang Qingcheng from Sulan province whose turn is it this time. By the way, is Daidu Shenzi so unlucky today? Someone is always messing with him. The audience in the live broadcast room couldn't help but speculate when they saw the person coming. But when they saw the person coming, they all looked surprised. As the golden light descended, it was the angel clan under Xia Yunyu. The attack launched by the Holy Wing Angel just now barely blocked the sword of the extreme cold blade. Xia Yunyu. No way, someone from Sulan province again. The contestants were whispering, but Mu-Han and other sons of God were already livid. You're really pestering me. Last time I let you go, you actually came to me and blocked my attack. Mu-Han took off his glasses, his face fierce. Xia Yunyu had just broken through the trial and came to the boss level. Although she was panicking, she still blocked Mu-Han's attack. After all, Bai Zi didn't know where he was at this time. If the sons of God in the imperial capital defeated the final boss, then Sulan province would be completely hopeless. The final boss can only be ours. It's not that easy to make up the last blow. After Xia Yunyu finished speaking, the Holy Wing Angel quickly took action. Before the boss behind her recovered, the two-blade light slash had already been slashed. The attack was not high, not as good as Mu-Han, and not enough to be fatal to the boss. But Xia Yunyu's points increased exponentially. This scene also made several gods in the imperial capital aware of it. Xia Yunyu received a double points buff, and the points of the local creatures she attacked would be doubled. Not good, Sulan province's points are almost surpassing Yanyuan. If they continue to do this, we will be in danger of being surpassed sooner or later. Stop her quickly, don't let her touch the boss again. Xia Yunyu's existence has threatened the entire imperial capital. In an instant, the gods in the imperial capital were eager to annihilate her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 359. Yunyu, I'll help you. Two dragon shadows flew out quickly and blocked Xia Yunyu's front. Several forces collided, and the fight was so fierce that it was hard to separate them. It gave other players and the boss a chance to breathe. The Imperial Capital Division and Sulan Province have started fighting. This is a good opportunity for us. The boss is already half crippled. He will die if he can't stand a few hits. Let's hurry up. You two don't fall behind. Keep up with me. We must grab the last blow of this second stage. The players rushed forward, and creatures of various races were at the feet of the boss. The Demon King woke up from near death, waving his claws like a zombie, and launched a crazy attack. It must be said that a lean camel is bigger than a horse. After all, it is the final boss comparable to the middle-level monarch. Even if he was exhausted by the strongest sons of God, he was not something that they, the little players, could kill at will. After a few rounds, many people were beaten back. It may take some time to kill it completely. Muhan, our monster is about to be taken away. Turning his head, Muhan looked at Yan Yan who had just spoken. The old way, split into two groups. Kill the monster first, then take the monster. After saying that, he led Liao Liang and Ye Hui to retreat, passed by Tang Qing Cheng, and came to Xia Yunyu. The latter wanted to stop him, but was blocked by the other three. The boss can't hold on for long, we have to fight quickly. You have to understand that since someone in your province is as famous as us, it is destined to be a tragedy. Today, in front of the national audience, I will let your Sulan province fall from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the valley. Muhan spoke to Xia Yunyu, his eyes unusually calm. Obviously, he was not joking. Now the points of Sulan province are very close to Yanyuan province, but most of the points are on Xia Yunyu, Tang Qing Cheng, and Bai Zi. As long as the three of them fall, Sulan province is likely to fall directly to the bottom. It just so happens that Xia Yunyu is in a very bad state at the moment, and there is nowhere to escape here. It is only a matter of time to deal with her first and Tang Qing Cheng. Liao Liang, do it. As soon as Muhan spoke, Liao Liang was ready. In an instant, hundreds of arrows flew out, as fast as flashes, and immediately approached the angel. Helplessly, the angels who did not have time to defend were knocked to the ground, and some were killed instantly. As for those who were not dead, Liao Liang was not going to let them go. He only had 1,000 Aurora archers left, and they all drew their bows, and the sky was pierced by arrows. They landed along the sky of the palace and went straight to Xia Yunyu. In front, the cold air slashed with the freezing beam, leaving no dead angle and no place to escape. Tang Qing Cheng was also entangled and there was no time to rescue. When they were on the verge of death, the last batch of angels sacrificed themselves and activated the last racial skill. It just so happened that after so long, the transformation cooling of the Holy Wing Angel was also over. The angels were seen emitting energy from their bodies, with streams of holy light pouring into their bodies, and the Holy Wing Angel was wrapped in golden threads. The weak angels stepped forward, took a lot of damage from this wave, and finally left the scene with regret. But there were still a few attacks, and when they were about to touch the general, the light completely bloomed. The raging flames rolled in, mixed with anger and wailing, like the cry of the god of fire, shocking the world. The Holy Wing Angel's blood was boiling, because the super evolution just now and the desperate situation she was facing now greatly stimulated her potential. 8 fierce wings bloomed like colorful lotuses. The burning red helmet appeared, and the armor was fiery red and transparent. The 10 scorching sun swords, in a vertical ring, surrounded it in the center, as dazzling as the sun in her childhood paintings, and it was very warm. There is no doubt that the Holy Wing Angel has advanced. She has entered the middle level of the commander and has permanently inherited the seraphim form. And then merge the racial skills, the seraphim form breaks through again and enters the high-level commander. That is what we see now. Seraphim, sun form. Boom. 10 scorching sun swords flew out, circling each other and moving forward. The temperature is comparable to that of the sun, and when it comes into contact with the bursts of freezing rays, it melts them instantly. Even the attack of the extreme cold blade could not touch it at all. Is this a breakthrough on the battlefield? High-level commander, it is indeed the right decision not to keep you. Muhan is more certain of his thoughts. This term of Sulan province is indeed different from previous terms. If these monsters are left untreated, they will sooner or later become a threat to the imperial capital. However, even if you break through on the battlefield, it will be useless. Without the protection of your family, you are just a commander without troops, a spent force. Muhan raised his arm and called, and the family members around him, the Ice Kirin, the United Wind God Pterosaur, and the Aurora Archer tribes came out one after another. This is war, there is no morality. Even if we beat you up, we will definitely make you die. Hearing Muhan's words, Xia Yunya quickly glanced around. Facing the remaining thousands of troops, even the advanced Seraphim would not have the strength to resist. Humph, how do you know if you don't try? But Xia Yunya still curled her lips and smiled. Try. Then let us see how you should try. All troops attack, don't miss a single chance. Under the orders of Muhan and the other two sons of God, the coalition forces jumped up together. Attack Xia Yunya from all directions, different positions, and different locations. Facing the tide-like offensive, the 10 swords of the scorching sun formed a protective wall and fought back. Unfortunately, after killing a group of creatures, new creatures would come to make up for them, and they could not be killed at all. On the contrary, even if the Seraphim advanced, their physical strength was limited. Facing thousands of creatures, the lowest realm was the peak of the slave, and they could not hold on for long. It's not that simple. Seraphim, use the new trick, the scorching sun. Xia Yunya opened her palm and gave orders. Immediately, the Seraphim's body shook, and the 10 long swords flew to the sky with the body. They surrounded and separated from the Seraphim's body, and continued to accelerate until they showed a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. At this time, feeling the high temperature fluctuation, Hongyan rushed over directly. It's actually pure fire element energy, which is interesting. Muhan beside him frowned slightly at Hongyan's slightly burning eyes. Why are you here? Didn't I ask you to stop Tang Ching Cheng? Hearing this, Hongyan just waved his hand. Don't worry, the two of them are enough to stop Tang Ching Cheng. As for the fire element, let me compete with her to see who is more powerful. Hongyan has a hot temper, just like his red hair. Especially when he feels that the fire element energy does not belong to him, he will unconsciously want to compete with the other party. After all, he is the son of the fire god, the leader of the fire attribute in his generation. How can he allow someone to be stronger than him? Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. Creation of the world, binding God simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 360. Sword Saint of Fiery Flame, block it. As Hongyan gave the order, Sword Saint of Fiery Flame was ready to go. It jumped up and stood at a high point in the air, raised the long sword in its hand, and layers of flames attached to it. The 10 swords of Fiery Sun were also very fast, spinning into a ball of fire, roaring and rushing forward. Seeing that thing getting closer and closer, Sword Saint of Fiery Flame was ready to cut it back. But at this moment, the 10 long swords falling like a fireball did not hit Sword Saint of Fiery Flame. Instead, they deviated a lot and passed by the side of Sword Saint of Fiery Flame, causing the other party to be confused. Deviated, Hongyan was shocked. He was about to laugh, but he thought it was wrong. How could he miss the command of high-level creatures with such a skill? Not good. When Hongyan turned around and realized it, it was too late. The 10 long swords that deviated suddenly turned back and stabbed straight ahead. And that position was undoubtedly the head of the final boss. Stop her quickly, her real goal is to attack the final boss, Muhan also reacted. No, it's too late. The contestants heard some chaotic quarrels and looked back slightly. They saw that a ball of fire as fast as a beam of light was coming towards them. The temperature was so high that it was impossible to get close. Regardless of anything, the contestants were scared and scattered to both sides. What is this? It's so hot, get out of the way. The creatures that surrounded the boss ran away, and there was no more obstacles. The road leading directly to the Demon King was opened, and the speed of the 10 long swords continued to increase. The Demon King felt something and stared at the fireball rushing towards him. Its purple-black pupils gradually became occupied by red, and finally filled up completely. With a boom explosion, a home run was hit. Hit the head directly. The already disabled Destruction Tyrant was hit in the head by the full force of the high-level creatures. So, he finally reached his limit. A few low wails came from his mouth, and his huge body swayed and began to fall backwards. Too late. She succeeded after all. Muhan clenched his teeth and couldn't help clenching his fists. It was the same scene again. The boss of the first stage just now was snatched by Tang Ching Cheng. This time, the boss of the second stage was snatched by Xia Yunyu. Sulan Province. This word has been deeply engraved in his heart. Muhan has long regarded her as an opponent that must be defeated. Ding, congratulations to Xia Yunyu, a contestant in the Sulan competition area, for launching the final attack on the second form of the final boss, the Demon King, the Destruction Tyrant, and successfully killing the boss. Ding, congratulations to Xia Yunyu, a contestant in the Sulan competition area. Sure enough, after this, the sound of the world echoed. Muhan and others, including all the contestants present, heard it. Only then did they realize that the ball of fire just now was sent to the boss, and Xia Yunyu killed the final boss. Ding, congratulations to Xia Yunyu, the contestant from Sulan province, for the last hit bonus points of 1 million. Ding, contestant Xia Yunyu has mastered the special title, the Messenger of Hell, and the points she has obtained have doubled, adding another 1 million. In a split second, 2 voices rang out, and the whole audience was in an uproar. Not only the contestants on the scene, but also the audience watching the live broadcast outside, as well as the tutors and principals of various colleges and universities. I am not seeing wrong, 1 million, oh no, 2 million points. Just by finishing off the enemy successfully, she got 2 million points, what a concept. This Xia Yunyu now has a total score of more than 3 million. It is estimated that she has surpassed Bai Zi, ranking first in the East, and even second in the country. The audience couldn't believe it, a member of Bai Zi's subordinates. It should have only played an auxiliary role for Bai Zi, but he didn't expect to be so generous and glorious here. Not only did he open the gate of hell from the beginning, but he also brought the key of hell from the encirclement of the 6 sons of God and many contestants. After that, he even snatched the boss's final blow from so many geniuses and the 6 sons of God. Now, the points perfectly crushed the Anyun province ace Zhang Tianyuan. Even if he is not as good as Bai Zingguan, he is still outstanding. At least, he has become the second in the country. I said, our students are not weak. Even if Bai Zi is not here, they will not fail because of this. Principal Tianzhou stroked his beard and observed that Sulan province has broken 10 million points now, and the corners of his mouth could not hide the smile. Sulan province, with nearly 11 million points, surpassed Yanyuan by nearly 10 million points and went straight to the imperial capital. The other principals sitting were also amazed. Some people even changed their eyes when looking at Principal Tianzhou. You know, Tianzhou Academy was originally ranked only 9th in the country. In ordinary schools, it is definitely a top-notch existence, but among the top 10 universities in the country, it is actually not famous, just like that. Who would have thought that it was such an inconspicuous ninth academy? 2 demons and monsters appeared in the academy. One was Bai-Zi, who was named the 11th star in the world, and the other was Xia, who was invincible against the 6 sons of God. These scenes made the other principals think. After the game, regardless of the results, Tianzhou Academy will definitely rise. How to get along with them then? On the other hand, the principal of the imperial capital kept silent and had stopped talking. But from his gloomy eyes, it can be seen that he seems to be in a bad mood, and even has the intention of blaming the 6 sons of God. Come to think of it, the goddess Bai Xingguan killed through the Western Division. One person's current points are almost breaking 10 million, and looking at the Eastern Division, the sons of God have lost one after another. Not only did he not get the key to hell, but the boss's finishing blow was also taken away by others. This is not a solution. The principal of the imperial capital glanced at the big screen next to him. The imperial capital has 17 million points and Sulan province is close to 11 million points. If it continues like this, there is really a risk of being overtaken. He can't afford to lose. There is no way. At the competition site, Muhan also bowed his head and said coldly, "We have failed too many times. If this continues, I'm afraid the principal will be disappointed in us." Raising his head, Muhan's eyes became fierce, with a hint of murderous aura. At the same time, the other 5 sons of God came to him, and the creatures they commanded also arrived here. On Xia Yunyu's side, the seraphim was already very tired, and Tang Qingcheng came over. "Good job, Yunyu," she encouraged. Xia Yunyu nodded lightly, but looked a little embarrassed. "How about it, try it, and you will die." However, she still did not forget to taunt. "Can't wait," although this trick was originally intended to be used against Bai-Zi at the end. "But you have taken so many points, you must end it today. Otherwise, how can our imperial capital keep its face?"